Our retro review in the original series is Gamesters of Triskelion, up next. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd. And a couple of things that I noticed about the Gamesters of Triskelion was, first of all, there's a little bit more humor in this episode, much with Spock, where Scotty says to him, the captain, Uhura, and Chekhov stepped onto the transporter pad and disappeared. And Spock says, I presume you mean in a way that's not consistent with how the transporter works. And he said, you think I would have just called you if they'd beamed down? There's a little bit of hostility, it seems, between Scotty and Spock in this episode, although once Spock, leans over and says, are you planning a mutiny? They straighten up and put a smile on their face and say, oh, yes, so we'll do this for you and maybe a wee bit more. So it kind of a little comedy, actually, between Scotty and Spock you don't see all of the time. And then, of course, McCoy just blurting out whatever's hit the top of his head. What kind of crazy thing is this? We know that they're not anywhere around us, so why are we going to look anywhere else? That kind of thing. But in the end, it all works out well, as you would expect. But interestingly, the voices for the Gamesters, the providers, as they're called in the show, were provided by James Doohan. He is a master of voices and accents and things like that. And so to save a little money on there, instead of hiring actors to voice the Gamesters, which are basically just lit up brains of different colors, Doohan does it himself. So he has a bigger job in this episode than in most. I don't know if he was paid any extra for doing the voiceover work in addition to his regular character. Possibly not. Anyway, Kirk has 2 love scenes, 3 or 4 fight scenes, and of course he is the one who is more likely to win the fight than everybody else is. Okay, that kind of goes in his contract, I suppose. And the fact that this is a 60s era show in which the hero always has to be the hero. There's an interesting little sidebar with Chekhov and his drill thrall, who is actually a nice-looking actress made up to look kind of repulsive. And in the scene where she's speaking to him, she's kind of talking over his shoulder while he's looking blankly into the camera. And the reason they did that was that they were running behind in production and they didn't have enough time to do one-shots of them, and so they just shot both of them at the same time in the one shot, both looking in the same direction, just as a way of saving it. But somehow it captured the moment even better in that Chekhov's refusing to look at her was enough of a statement in and of itself, even though that really was not built into the direction of the show. It was just a matter of not wanting to set up a different camera angle and reset the lights and all that kind of stuff that they need to do for things like that. So what bothers me is that the Triskelion logo that's everywhere, it's on gate posts and it's on the Thrall Master's chest and other places, looks very much like a swastika. Now, they're trying to show that this is a slavery kind of thing, and they give it kind of a subtle Nazi look to it, although there's nothing other than that logo that kind of suggests that specifically. Nevertheless, as you would expect, they are able to, of course, turn around lifetime training of one person to make her fall under the charm of Kirk. And the providers find the humans interesting enough that they let them get away with more. That's probably plausible enough. However, at the very end where Kirk makes this bet with the Gamesters that he'll, if he loses, they get the ship, and if he wins, he gets their freedom, and the Thralls get their freedom, and all gets changed on the planet, it would have been very easy for the gamesters to say, no, we're not going to hold to that, and go ahead and bring the crew down anyway. Of course, that would have been the end of the show, so that wasn't going to happen. But just a little weakness in that plot. We assume that they are honorable people, despite the fact that they have no problems having slaves and making them fight to the death with each other. That's just the kind of the hole in the plot as I see it. Otherwise, Spock has some subtle humor in there. He also shows that he is perfectly willing to take command of the ship, and if anybody gives him any trouble about it, he's going to let them know immediately that they're going to be in big trouble about it. And so not a whole lot of complaints happen after he's pretty much established that. And then at the end, as happened in a lot of episodes, in the final fight scene, everybody on the ship gets to watch because, of course, that's just civilized, isn't it? Where you're fighting to the death, and we'll let all your friends watch you. So I'm not certain just how realistic that would be in any kind of civilization that would be organized like that, but they do it time and again on this show, especially in the third season. There's a lot of times, we'll let you watch. Well, they did that actually with the Gorn. Since your captain is losing, we're going to televise the fight with the Gorn. And they did it here. I believe they also did it on a couple of the third season things as well. So just kind of one of the tropes that they have engaged in episodes like this. Otherwise, I think it was okay. They show Uhura here as being much more able to defend herself than just being the femme fatale, which they'd used her for in previous episodes. So that's nice that they showed that. Chekhov is not doing any Russian jokes, but does do a good job of subtle acting in his distaste for his drill thrall, his rooting for his captain, and other kind of behind the main action expressions on his face, which work out. So, that's what I have on Gamesters of Triskelion. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not give me a comment down below and tell me what you think about that. Perhaps you've caught some things in it that I didn't. So we have retro reviews, of course, on Deep Space Nine and the original series every week, and on Friday we'll have the next Strange New Worlds episode, which is going to be the big crossover episode between Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds. So that should be interesting. We see Mariner and Boimler actually as humans rather than their cartoon character counterparts. So it should be interesting to see. And until then, don't go far.